Two Pints in a Corner is a music history podcast about the Channel Club in Boston, Mass. Dinky Dawson and Tony Raine are your hosts. They interview channel performers and workers, bringing out stories and memories of the great music and events that came through this iconic South Boston venue. Hello, this is Two Pints in a Corner with Dinky Dawson and Tony Raine. Tony, unfortunately, is still resting to get himself together and getting better every day after a year off. I'm hoping he comes back in this year coming up to have a chat with everybody. But we've got Uncle Sean McNally on the other line, who is great at interviewing with me because he knows the guys better than anybody. And on the line right now we have Sal Baglio from the Stompers. And
hello.
Welcome, Sal. And
It is.
yeah, it's good to hear your voice after a long time and what have you.
Absolutely, Dinky. Thank you for inviting me, and hello, Sean. And it's great to hear your voice as well, Dink.
Thank you. I think we heard our voices for the very first time in our doctor's office in Boston, Dr. Jonas.
Yes,
that's where we met.
That's right.
And that was in the 70s. That was 70s, and we met you. And I didn't.
It was early on. Yeah. It was very early on.
Yeah, wonderful.
He was a wonderful doc.
Oh, he still is a wonderful man. I think he's gone back to Gloucester up there after they lived in Vermont and retired in Vermont, really. And I think it got too much with the farm and everything, and his wife getting a bit sick, so he decided to pack up all that up there and move to Gloucester, retire, and listen to jazz.
Yeah, he loved jazz.
Oh,
he loved Keith Jarrett. Yeah. I remember all that. And he was at Woodstock because didn't he stitch you up there?
No, I didn't do Woodstock, but Nancy was at Woodstock.
Okay.
Nancy was at Woodstock with Joan Byers. She was giving people like Peter Asher the floor to sleep on and stuff like that in a hotel room.
I confused those stories because I know he did stitch you up at one point.
Oh, he did everything for me. He's done stitched me up. We've called him at 11 o'clock at night, and he's called a doctor down here in Marshfield who pioneered the pilonidal cyst, which is the long hair that used to happen. It still happens on people at the bottom of your spine, and it curls up and it curls up, and you have to leave it open or pull out a hair that's about 30 feet long and stuff. And get
I know that thing. Yeah, man.
You've all been there. Anyway, let's not talk about all these bad illnesses and all that stuff. We got to talk about the channel. And but I just wanted to say before we go on, the channel. Well, you first played the channel in '80 when it opened on July 19th, 1980, and then September 26th, 1980, and December 6th, 1980. I wasn't there, but I did come actually on September 26th because a young band from the South Shore called State of Mind was opening for you. I already knew that you and your music and what was going on, and I know how fired up you can get and wonderful with the audiences and creative. And that is, but you also have to know, and I'm sure you haven't known this, you played the channel 59 times in the 10 years. In the 10 years. And you played 2 all-ages shows, one of the first all-ages shows that was ever done, and 2 18-plus shows, the first 18-plus shows that was ever done. So you have some fair records in there. And my question, and I'm sure Sean's saying the same thing, is do you remember that first experience in the channel and before I brought my system in and all that stuff and what have you, and what happened to you in the first time you were there?
Yeah, well, I've got a flood of various memories from the channel over the years, but the actual first time that I ever was in that room I'm not sure if it was called the Channel yet, but it was the stage was in another area. When you walked in the door, the stage, I believe, was to your left.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I remember. And that's
the Mad Hatter, I think, right? Is that what it was?
I don't know. I thought it was Channel 1 or the Channel. It was brand new, and we played there. The first time I ever played there was with the Neighborhoods.
Oh, wow.
And, it was a shared bill, but they closed. Yeah. And I don't know if there was a third act on that bill, but that was the very, very first time I knew anything about that room. We only played on that stage once. And like I said, it was with the Hoods. And I couldn't tell you the year. I guess it was 1980, unless it was before that, but I don't think so. And then, from that point on, it was the room that everybody knows with the stage where it was.
Yeah, Stompers played, like I said, July 19th. The Thrills opened for you. That was then, but then after that, it was State of Mind that opened for you. And then the next one, the last one in 80 was in December 6th, and I think it was the Hoods. I'll double check. I'll go through now.
Wow.
Double check.
Yeah. Well, it gets a little blurry.
No, you played with like Johnny A. You played with Extreme and the co-headline bill before they got really popular, and that kind of stuff. And I think it's wonderful. Whatever you played, you played and was creative the whole time. That's the key to the whole thing.
Well, those times were quite amazing. You could play the Channel. And, and a few days later, you might be playing the Paradise, and then, some college up the street. And, that's basically where that audience came from, was for the Stompers. Anyway, we were doing a lot of colleges.
That's right, colleges.
Yeah. We would play some gymnasium, opening for Southside Johnny or whoever. And then, of course, then we began to headline those places. But that's where, and always then we'd play a weekend at the Channel, and that's where all those people would come from. They were college kids following us around. Also, radio had a big, a big thing to do with all that. Radio just publicized all the shows. Like you were either in the Phoenix and on the BCN concert report, and that's how everybody heard about these things. And it was just quite a time, as you know, because you were there. It's just a great time.
That's been a common theme, Sal, the radio support, and in general, Boston music scene in general back then. I mean, obviously, there's always a friendly competition, right? You guys were one of the headlining bands at the Channel. There were a lot of bands of that, that ilk that could do a weekend there and headline.
Yeah.
But you can play down the street a week later, or, you could play in Boston 10 times in a month, which was kind of crazy back then. But you mentioned the college thing as well. I think it was 18 plus drinking age back in the beginning there, and 19 plus. So that certainly helped.
Right. Exactly. You're 100% right. That the drinking age got lowered, and it definitely expanded the audience.
And the radio stuff. And we've had many conversations. The likes of Carter, who, a lot of these DJs who also were like emceeing shows at the Channel, even being a DJ at the Channel. They were monumental in helping getting bands like the Stompers exposed, not just in the club scene, but on a 50,000 watt station that had immense power back then, as I'm sure you remember, and that it just went to give you guys on a national stage almost. Some of the bands are playing during national acts, but here the Stompers getting played as well on the same hour on the radio. That was incredibly important back then.
Very important.
Yep. I whenever I'm doing an interview, and people always bring up, obviously the past, and well, what was it like when you started out and this and that, and that's part of the story. Radio, there was college radio, and then there was commercial radio big time, BCN, COZ and whatnot, that would support bands like the Stompers, in regular, it wasn't like at 2 a.m. We got a show of local music at, from 2 a.m. to 2:30. This was like, drive time. This
exactly.
Was, and that support was quite amazing. I mean, just going back a few years before the Stompers, which the Stompers began in 1977. So, I was listening to BCN since it came on the air. I was a wee kid, and then in high school, I would listen to BCN, Max Satori and Charles and Mississippi and all these different DJs, and they were amazing.
Yeah.
And then we would skip school and go up to the Pru to watch them. It was like it was kind of, when you're a teenager like that, it's like they're delivering the music that you love, and they were also celebrities on their own. I can't tell you how much new music I heard on BCN.
Oh, that was the key.
And Maxanne just playing all kinds of stuff, tapes by different groups, and that's where I heard about Big Star and groups like that, and Jonathan Richman, and so that's like 74, 73, 72, 73, 74, 75, and then 2 years later, we get the Stompers going, and I'm up there doing interviews. It's just, it was the craziest thing. It was like a rock and roll,
that's awesome,
fantasy, like the Kingston, it's like a rock and roll. My life has been like this rock and roll dream.
That's cool. You got almost get a peek behind the curtain, like the Oz days, of seeing how they operate. And here you are 2 years, 3 years later, and you're one of the guys they're interviewing. That's pretty amazing.
It was amazing. I was sitting there going, man, it was only a couple of years ago I was on the other side of that window looking at these people, and it's been a great run for sure. And
here's a couple of runs that you did in the channel. So I got more info on that. You did a filming video in August 9th, 1985.
Yep.
You did a Stompers record release party on April 1st, 1983.
Yep.
And then after that, there was all kinds of stuff like all ages shows that started in the afternoon, because the Saturday night you would be doing Saturday night headlining, and then you keep all the gear in there, and then you'd end up doing all ages in the afternoon on a Sunday kind of thing. There was a bunch of that went down. And both nights, the nighttime show and the daytime show would be packed. Yeah, exactly. Exactly what I was going to say.
What did the channel hold, Dinky? What was the amount?
What was the legal, Sean? You got it.
It was 1,700, but I mean there was certainly times when we kind of wink went over that a little bit.
I'm sure.
But the thing that was amazing was, bands like the Stompers could pack 1,000, 1,200, 1,400 people in there on a Saturday night, which was incredible. If you think about it, going back to that, these are, bands that are essentially local, regional bands at best. I mean, you guys are road dogs. You guys are playing over in New England, like you said, between colleges and theaters and supporting bands and headlining your own shows. You guys are out there. But aside from that, to play in front of that many people was still an unbelievable achievement back then. Incredible.
Yeah. And some of the other things that happened were like you talk about not just the year 1980, which is a long time ago. Jesus Christ. So 1980, we put out a Christmas song, right? All I Want for Christmas is a Rock and Roll Guitar. Yeah. And it was also the year that Giles put out a Christmas tune, Going to the Christmas Party. And they took us on tour with them, their Christmas tour.
Oh, wow.
Now,
I like that.
We were 3 years before getting a record deal. I think we got signed in 82, 83, like that, right? Yeah. And so this is before any record deals or anything. We were playing in front of 20,000 people a night in front of the Giles crowd, which was our crowd.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what we went for that. You know what I mean? I don't have any problem telling anybody.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
When you saw Giles raise a roof, we wanted to do the same thing. You know, we wanted to
and you
to
had
raise
no
a roof,
problem
burn
with
the
that.
barn down, and that was it. You know, and so they took us around, and we played all these New England arenas.
Mm-hmm.
And then, then you go back to the channel and it's like, it's just madness,
Right.
Because you've reached people that you might not have got to play in front of, you know what I mean? And it was just, and I always say, another thing I always like to say is, is to thank Peter Wolf and the Giles Band for giving us that shot.
Oh, yeah.
It tore us. It tore a whole new roof for us, man. And
nothing great at that time frame. So we had John Butcher on a couple of weeks ago, and same thing. Like they were also an unsigned act.
Yeah.
They had a song that BCN put on the radio.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, they get a call from the Giles Band, and they had them open a 3-night stand at the Garden on New Year's Eve, and it was like, same thing. It's like you go from playing the club to all of a sudden you're playing in front of 15,000, 20,000 people in your hometown. And it's just like, and back then you could do that kind of stuff, right? Because the Giles bands, those kind of bands had that kind of clout, or they, nowadays, the way I understand how it works most of the time, for bands on the road playing arenas now, any band that's on supporting them are either put on there by the record label, or they're even doing a pay-to-play deal, where they pay to play on the opening act. But back then, when it was more of a, I don't want to call it like innocent era, but, you had a local radio station playing a massive part, local bands who were stars, like the Giles Band, taking out local bands to be their opening acts and exposing them to thousands of new people. And like you said, you come back and play your own headlining show later, and all of a sudden your audience just like doubled or tripled, which is phenomenal. Yep, that's exactly what happened. And it just kept getting bigger and bigger, and it was a great long run. That's for sure. We had a good, successful long run.
You played 2 years on New Year's Eve. That's the thing.
Twice at the channel. Yeah.
Twice at New Year's Eve.
I can remember. I think at least one time, if not both, we went on at midnight.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So here's the difference between. Here's the difference. I want to be home by midnight now.
I want to be in bed.
I want to go on at 7:30.
No, but
the opening slot's the new headlining slot these days for that.
I like that, Sean.
I'm not going on at midnight anymore.
No, but them days, people would know you were going on at midnight, and they'd come from, like you said, the Rat, or from one or two other clubs in town, and come to see you. Especially a lot of the road crews from different groups would always come to see the Stompers. They would want to hear what the guys in the sound are doing. They want to hear or see what the lighting was doing. They were like focusing on what the Stompers are doing, because you got them all trained. I said,
well,
it's you.
Yeah,
It was you that had them all trained. As soon as you put the guitar to point at somebody, boom, they jump to it. I like, yes. This is because I did a few concerts with you when you were there, and then I let a lot of the kids that were working to do the concerts, some of the concerts too, but they were like the special one, the 10th anniversary of the Stompers, November 20th, 1987. And I think I was there the next day. Newman was playing, but it was, all that time period was so special. And on May 27th, you had 91. This at the end, May 24th. You were there at the beginning, and you were there at the end, because you played 24th of May 91, and the Swinging Stakes opened for you. So
wow!
I'm like,
that's wild.
That's wild. And then Channel wasn't much later after that. 1982, there was like 6 or 7 shows at the most, and then it was done. But prior to that, like you said, it was Channel 1 or the Mad Hatter before that. And they changed the name, and the stage was on the side. But when it came into the big stage, now you could paint your show, and you could express yourself off that stage with the feelings you had. not just the guitar, but your body and your voice and the whole thing. And you just let it go. If a person lets it go the way that you do it, you all guys do doing it, it's phenomenal, and people are going to come back and see that. They can't wait for that particular song that's going to come and hit him in the face. And now we're running around like a madman. And it was running as fast as you can in the channel when it's packed. It's a pretty tough number.
Oh,
Isn't it, Sean? It's tough getting through, even with a big lad like you. It was, get out my way.
I wish I had that energy today.
All of us are doing the same thing. Wish we had that energy. Oh, yeah, then you could use it and destroy these people that's out now and stuff. Because they're looking.
Do you guys do you remember the channel that they opened on the Cape?
Yeah, the Cape Cod one.
Short-lived, I heard, like a one season, I think.
Was that all it was? We played there. I think we played the Cape Cod Coliseum opening for Stoutside and Hall & Oates. I forget the bill who headlined, but we were the opening act, and it was Hall & Oates and Southside. And then I think we had to run over to the channel and play there that same night, because we did a lot of that crazy stuff.
I think the night that you played that in the Cape, the Keep, which is Dan Lawson, who we've had on the show a couple of weeks ago, they opened for you to keep it going and stuff with the Round Rock that they've got going. And then then you took it over, and everybody's like, "Oh my goodness!" I mean, because Dan was talking about it and stuff, and I says, "Yeah, it's going to be interesting when we talk with Sal." And you brought it up. I was waiting for Sean to bring that one up about the Cape Cod Coliseum and the other one. Yeah, opening for you guys opened for a lot of major of that time, up and coming major bands, and at the same time you were basically coming out as a major band because of the performances that you did. That was hard to cover that performance you did. It was a high energy for over 2 hours at that point, and that is a tough number to do. But, today I'm seeing some of the older folks trying to do it, like Bruce and stuff like that, and they're relying on quieter songs, so they can get through.
Well,
but you were just rock from the beginning. You, like, knock your socks off from the first song, right, Sean, on that one?
Absolutely. No, those, you get your money's worth for damn sure. I mean, back then, especially, you're paying maybe $5, $6, $7 to go see a headlining band at the channel. And, to your point before, Dick, you could always, the thing that's great about the channel was, like you said, you could have your friends playing at a show at Bun Ratty's, The Rat, opening up first, second on, and you go see them. And you go another part of town, goes up to Paradise and catch a second band, and get down to the channel at midnight, because you're going to still see the headlining band and hang on a bunch of friends all around. Would always end up down there because it was like the latest license around, and it was just a fun time back then. It really was.
Well, that's one of the songs. Isn't that one of the songs from?
Fun.
Yeah, you had some good
American
songs.
Fun, absolutely.
That's
American
it. That's exactly the one. I was using that early on in the beginning when we started doing not the podcast, but on the channel website. What I said, I got to put a little bit of this in, and I said, no, I'll get into trouble.
No trouble.
so many hit songs to Stomp Inside for sure.
Oh, one after the other. Like I said, once you first did the first song, it was vroom, all the way through. And high energy on every song coming through, whether it would be a ballad, it was still a high energy ballad. It was emotional. And you got all the emotionals out of the Stompers. And that's why people come out to this day. They want that to see you from that time as saying, wow, I remember doing, that's all they talked to me when we were doing that reunion stuff at the, I mean, I want that vibe. Well, they're on the bill. Go check them out. And come out to me afterwards. They got the vibe. They've never stopped. They're still at it.
Right. We had fun at that one that we did, Dinky. We had that one big show we did, channel reunion. I think there's been a few of them, but the one that we were involved in was a lot of fun.
Oh, at the Roxy.
Yeah.
No, that was a good one because it was well supported. The people that came out that did the thing. I let the girl and one of the New England drummer just do his thing and whatever. That was Hirsch or whatever. But at least I let them do it because I felt they were still on the circuit. They still knew everybody and everything, and I think the benefit it was going for was absolutely brilliant. Woody stuff. And I mean, if everything was sorted out, so you got to take care of all that, and we just want to take care of how everything goes on the sound wise and everything. That's because that's my sound, that's my thing. So and that crowd will be taking care of all the security stuff. At the same time, I would be sat down doing T-shirts that day. I says, well, I haven't done that ever. I didn't know. But people wanted this, so we made a few, But right now, with having the website up there, it's been very, very interesting because the people are coming on there asking about certain shows. Do you remember this show? And remember that? And then all of a sudden, when we get the people on the podcast talking about it, the next thing, I remember I was out when I made my wife that night and stuff like that.
We hear a lot of that stuff.
Oh, you hear that?
Met my wife at your show. Yeah. Crazy. It's nuts. I asked her to marry me. All these
I love it. So, that's great. That means that the emotion and the camaraderie between you guys has really projected to these people and just sent them into another world again. And it's lovable world. It's not stupid. It's not really off the wall. I mean, that's the big thing. I mean, when we had now. One question that I was also, did you ever come down there to see some people play that you admired or you just wanted to check out and stuff as they're playing at the club?
Sure. I mean, I'm sure there was a bunch of times that I did that. One particular time that I remember clearly was the Beach Boys were playing on the Common. Remember when they had the concerts?
I did.
Yeah, on the Common.
Yeah. And so the Beach Boys were playing there, and I was kind of friends with the late Billy Hinchy. And I got to know them because the Stompers toured with them, so we became friends. And when they came to town, we'd hang out.
Yeah.
So one night they were in town. They played their show. Southside Johnny was at the Channel. Oh, wow. And so Billy calls me. He's like, what are we doing tonight? I said, well, let's go to the Channel. So he takes a cab to I was still living in East Boston at the time. He takes a cab over there. We hang out at my house for a little bit. He shows me his harmony part on Surfer Girl. We talk a little bit about all that stuff. And then he's like, let's go to the Channel. We go down. We spend a crazy drunken night.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I remember that. I think he was staying at the Parker House, that nice hotel across from the Common.
Yeah.
And the next, they were hanging around for a while, and the next day, I said, am I gonna meet you? Tomorrow or whatever. He goes, no, he said, Mike Love is taking everybody to dinner. And the last time Mike Love opened his wallet, a moth flew out. I can say that now because poor Billy Hinchy was just
that's classic.
Extremely friendly guy, man. I mean, Dinky, you must have known them. I know you worked with everybody. But, Dino, Dizzy, and Billy, I had those records when I was a kid, and then he was with the Beach Boys for 100 years. And
I know Daryl Dragon and that crowd.
Oh,
Daryl and...
Dink, I'll tell you, have you written your book yet?
I wrote a book in 1997 with Carter Allen. It's called Life on the Road, The Rocket Mountain Road Adventures of Dinky Dawson.
When we were working at the Channel with you, I had no idea of the history that you've been part of, and I must have read parts of that book and heard the stories, and I'm like, Dinky has worked with literally every band that has affected my musical life. You know, the Byrds, the Kinks. Are you kidding me? The Kinks, Dink. I mean, Ray is probably my top favorite British writer. You know,
you didn't want to open
I
for
love
them.
the Fabs and all those people, but
you love them, but you didn't want to open for them because they wouldn't give you a sound check, and not only that, don't turn them up, don't mix them the way because
that's
they
too
did
bad.
that with Steely Dan.
Yeah, I think I read that story, or you told me. But I didn't know that at the time when I first met you. You know, the history of all those incredible people you worked with, Fleetwood Mac. But the day after I turned 15, I went to see the Kinks. This was 1972 at the Orpheum, and no one I knew wanted to go. So I went by myself. I saw Lindisfarne.
I did that.
Right? Dick, this is so cool. Lindisfarne, Fairport Convention, and the Kinks. Yep. And now, all these years later, of course, I work with Dave Maddox all the time. You know, I've recorded with him, I've played live with him, and I always say to him, I was 15 when I saw you guys. You know what I mean? But the Kinks, at that point in time, I was just so taken by that. And that's just, I think it was the tour before Everybody's in Showbiz came out, the double album, Yeah. But that's just amazing, Dink.
I did 1972. I did a Kinks tour that started in San Antonio. Went through and this new band called Steely Dan opened. I never heard of them, and Ray and Dave said, "Don't give them a sound check." Now they made sure I didn't give them a sound check because they went up to doors, rehearsing and messing with the sound systems to having a great old time, And So I asked Walter. I didn't know him real well, but I saw this guy Walter and Denny Diaz and Walter Becker, and they came up and I said, "Get up there and putz around, just set all your gear up." And I did an early channel thing. I made them check the line, and I yelled as people are coming in, "Give me that guitar!" And then I says, "Start!" And they made it like 8 bars, 10 bars, or whatever, or something. And I says, "That's it, done." and when they went on, it was like they flipped out because it was like the perfect mix. Because that new sound system was so good for me to be able to mix on. I felt I couldn't believe it. And then this band played and ripped them apart. Then that night, I think you might have read that story. That night, after we did the Kinks, which went down excellent, just like they should do. I was swimming in the pool, and on the second floor of the Holiday Inn, out came TVs, beds, and the whole thing into the pool, right in the pool. And it was the fans that did that when the cops came by. Yeah, right. It was the fans. Yeah. Usual stuff. And but then the next day we went to Chicago and stuff. After a couple of days in Texas, and it was just really good with them because they just get on and play. They played the hits. They had a good time. They weren't fighting at all at that time or getting mad with each other. They were very good on stage, both Ray and Dave. And the rest of them were absolutely brilliant on it with them, everything, I had fun with that a lot. Then I got walking pneumonia on the tour, and I had to come off. Dr. Jonas made me come off and told me I couldn't do it anymore, so I gave it to Claire and let them do the rest of the stuff. But that was after that. But the still I did Madison Square. Actually, it wasn't the Square Garden; it was the one underneath the
Felt Forum.
Right? Yeah, and I did that with them, and well, there's umpteen stories about the people coming to other people's room that were stark naked and trying to get after Ray or Dave, and I'm like, this is getting. I think I like this Kinks tour. It was wild.
Yeah, we had a few stories like that, but I can't really go into them.
I was waiting for that. That's why I brought it up because
Oh, great! Do you remember the late great DB,
Oh,
Lightman?
wonderful DB.
Yes.
Yeah, he was such a great guy. Yeah, he ended up naked in a closet one time at some hotel, but he was such a good guy. He's like, I don't know. He woke up there like that. He said, I don't know what happened. Well, we all do. We kind of know what happened.
We did Giles together. I did Giles for a while, and
yeah. But that's how we met him. Sure. Yeah.
And I did Giles, and DB was on the side of me, and we got this blunt given to us at this gig right at the end, and both of us took a puff, and the next thing we were both flat on the floor because it was PCBs. It was that.
I'm dying. Oh God!
It was like my crew had to take everything down. I'm laid out. After it was fortunately right at the end of the whole tour, not tour, the whole show, and DB sat on the end, swinging his feet on this where we were lifted up there, and I'm saying, DB, are you okay? She says, are you okay? I says, no. And we staggered together. It was as though we were real drunk coming out of that place, and they put us in the motorhome and said, relax. No, but
sleep it off.
DB and his parties in when they were at him in Boston, when he was having all the beer parties, and people like AJ would come and try to drink DB under the table, and DB would DB wouldn't have any of that. No, wonderful man, wonderful lighter, very creative, and I just talked with Sean, and I just talked with Joanne Cody with Extreme, and the other light guy who we had was Martin Favor. Now, Martin Favor has become a monster in the lighting field. He's not only doing Extreme, he's doing a lot of the metal bands, and he's programming and what have you for multiple lights, because there's so many lights they've got now. Is phenomenal, and the band sees his work when people post little bits on YouTube, and that kind of thing. They see his work and they're saying, DB, Martin, you have really got this together and stuff. Then they're loving it. So there's some creative people that came out of the channel that were on production. Sean.
Absolutely.
Sean would know Scott Perlman, who was a big, tall sound guy. He's been in Nashville for years now, been doing a lot of the Nashville people. Just like a lot of the musicians that we have. Robin Eric Oral there.
Robert Ellis Oral.
That's
it.
PH. He's doing things with Taylor Swift. He did a couple albums. And then you've got TH. Oh, TH is just monster down there with the blues and stuff. Wonderful.
Yeah, I just did a gig with him a couple of weeks ago in Buffalo.
That's where I saw that online. Yeah. Was it? He's real good, and I know you're real good, so it must have been a great combination with everybody.
Tom, I've always led my own band, but when Tom asked me to come play guitar for him, it was such a treat, because I could just enjoy playing the guitar and being stage left, and I'm happy as can be. So I think I've been working with him since. I've known him forever, but we've been working together since '99.
Wow!
And I just came back from Buffalo. He's got a new record out, and he's doing great. I've toured the whole world with him. I've toured the entire world with him. And whoever he's opening for, he's either produced or wrote their newest song. So we'll be out with George Thorogood. It's like, I'm doing his new record. And, we're playing with Skinner. Yeah, I'm doing their new record. Oh, Buddy Guy. Yeah, I'm not. It's just crazy. It's just crazy.
Isn't it wonderful? And, it's wonderful though, because he still remembers the people up here, still loves the people up here that he worked with and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely. If you need me to hook you up, you should get him on this thing, because he played the channel many times too.
Yeah, well, Sean's getting everybody now, because everybody's worried about people that were on here and working with me because of Tony when he had that. He had a massive stroke after a gig. that he did there with Al Stewart down in Rhode Island, and he got back and he got med-flighted up to Boston, and it's taken him over a year now to really try to come back, and he's still not 100%, but he is improving, and that's a wonderful thing. Because he's got some memories.
Please send Tony Raine my love and my best wishes. And he was always great whenever we played down at the Melody Tent. You know.
He loved you. He kept telling people that he wants the Stompers down there, and he wants the Fools, and he wants this, and he wants that. And he was getting them all. And then when people came through that had already played the channel, he was like, you know, they all were absolutely enjoying it because he knows how to take care of people in that whole thing. I mean, you want a special drink, he'll get you one. You want it's not just that, but just the love that portrayed between everybody on that stuff, because it was so magnificent, and to have people like Sean working the thing with Johnny Barnes at that point and trying to keep Johnny under control and stuff, because he goes off. He's another fun lad. He even writes about the damn channel. I'm saying.
Yeah, he had a couple books out. That's right.
And he's got some mystery books that is fantastic. I couldn't believe a couple of them. I says, this is
it's great. It's great that you mentioned TH, obviously Tommy's, and but it's great that there are so many people from that era that are still doing it, right? You mentioned John Butcher, obviously Sal. You've done a bunch of shows together. John and Barron's is still out there doing things. Hearst Gardner, I mean, Rick Berlin, Charlie Farron, Johnny A. There's still a bunch of these people from that era that are still doing their thing. And I think most people would say that the Stompers are probably the reason most people know who Sal Baglio is. I mean, you guys had a 45-year run, which is absolutely amazing. Even up until the last days, you guys were selling out all the venues around New England, the Bull Run, the Blue Ocean, any place in town near Boston, sellout show. But you have not stopped. I swear you're more prolific these days. You've got at least a couple acts going on, Amplifier Heads, Peppermint Kicks. Do you want to give us a little bit of an update on what you've been doing lately yourself?
Yeah, really.
Yeah, sure. Well, here's the thing with the Stompers. You know, we had a great run. Like you said, Sean, thank you, man. Like 45 years, whatever it was, you know, it was a long run. And the thing is, we only made 2 records in that time. Right. The original Boardwalk record, and then Mercury Polygram kind of re-released the first record, so that's not a new record. And then we put out our own in 1990 or something, which was recorded in 1985. So we don't have a lot of recorded stuff, but we have a long history of live music. Absolutely. Since 2019 to now, I think I've put out 5 or 6 records with the Amplifier Heads, which essentially that's me. It's solo work, but I use other musicians, obviously for live, but even for recording, you know, different. Brad Helene plays bass on a lot of my stuff, and my friend Kevin Rapillo over in Nashville. And so, you know, I have done a lot more recorded original music in a very short time than I did with the Stompers. But, you know, I understand why the Stompers' history is as loud as it is over everything else that I've done. But yeah, I've been really, really fortunate and doing well with with my solo stuff, the Amplifier Heads, and the Peppermint Kicks, which is with Dan Kopko, you know, who had the band Watts and the Shanghai Lows. And Dan and I, we just hit it off, and we write and record together, and we just had the coolest song in the world on Little Steven's Underground Garage, which was really, really an honor and a surprise. And in fact, I did an interview with the Mighty Manfred, and he asked me the same thing that we're just talking about now. He's like, Boston has a long history. You know, why are there so many people still coming out of that town? And what is it about Boston that you think is the reason why there's still so much happening there? And I said, I said, I really don't know, except that all the bands that were playing back in the 70s and 80s, most of them, and you named them all, Sean, are still going.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, we're still going. So that's why it's still alive. I mean, you know, I didn't want to go into, unfortunately, how dead it is live-wise as far as numbers of people coming out. But there's a very simple reason for that, and that is, however old we are, your audience is the same, and so they're not going to come and wait till you go on at midnight at the channel anymore.
7 o'clock.
You know, it's just a very simple. It's a simple thing. It's got nothing to do with rock and roll being dead or music's not fun or whatever. It's just a you know, an age thing.
Yeah.
And
it's a different world style. I mean, I don't want to keep going back till I go back in my day, but honestly, the '80s, Boston music in the '80s, '70s was just really a special time. And in fact, it's a great new movie just came out called Life on the Other Planet. That if you haven't seen it yet, I think you have seen it, but you know, it kind of goes back to the days of the Rat and a bunch of Boston bands from that era. And like you say, a lot of them are still doing it. You know, they're still playing. And but it was a really special time. Maybe it was the underage drinking, the younger drinking age. Maybe there were so many clubs back then to play in town.
Yep. Absolutely.
And on the outskirts, but you know, nowadays it's so real estate in Boston is just insanely expensive. So I don't care where in a 20-mile radius, there's no places like where there's these art districts anymore, or the combat zones. Like those places just don't exist anymore. There's no places where you can have these clubs to get the new blood, the new people coming up and getting their feet underneath them and getting their tunes down and becoming better musicians. Those places really just don't exist anymore. And it's really unfortunate for a lot of the bands, because like you said, there's some great bands out there. I still go out, twice a week if I can, if not more. There's so many great bands out there, but you got to go find them in a coffee shop or in the back of a brewery, or I think the Paradise is like the only place still standing. God bless it. That's a phenomenal room still. But it's just a different world. But to the point of the music is still awesome. I mean, I would recommend anybody who's out there who's not been following Sal as closely as some of us have. He released an amazing song, When We Go Home Again. And I every time I see it, I get cheered up by it. It's just when you perform it live, you hear it on the radio. But if anybody out there listening on the podcast, just go to YouTube or go to type in When We Go Home Again by Sal. And it's just a tremendous song that touches back to his childhood, but we can all relate to it. I just want to make sure I didn't forget mentioning that song before in the interview. Great song.
Thanks, man. Thank you, Sean. Yeah. That was an interesting song to write. It sort of came, it hovered. I knew it was there, and it all came out together, the music and the lyrics, and
beautiful.
And that's just. At some point, I put it out as a digital single, but I think that's going to be on not the next Amplifier Heads record, but the one after it. Wow. Right now, I'm in the middle of mixing a new Amplifier Heads record, and Dan and I started writing the next Peppermint Kicks record because the album did so good this year. Pop Rocks and My Chewing Gum was the name of that record, and
I remember them.
Yeah,
Pop Rocks.
I bet you do, Peg.
I remember.
So we're in beginning to flesh out some songs for the next record, and
that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah,
keep writing, keep working as much as you can, and playing as much as you can, because
until they put me away, Dink.
Well, that's exactly what we're after, because that's really what you do. That's what you do. That's how good it is. I got so ill I couldn't travel on the touring and this, that, and the other anymore, or even doing local gigs. And I do miss it, but I don't miss it in some ways, because I'm like you. When I took Spanky McFarlane and Spanky and our gang out about 12 years ago, we said, that's it. 7 o'clock is 9 o'clock off the stage, and we're in bed.
Absolutely. Yeah. I remember, you know what? I think I saw, at one point, I know what I saw. I saw the Mamas and Papas, and she was singing in that.
Yeah, that's me.
That was. Do you remember that they played the channel? I believe
that was
way
me.
back, right?
yeah.
I went to that show. I went to that show for sure. Yeah.
We just
Well,
reformed them.
I loved her. I loved what she did with her records. Were amazing. I love that kind of pop. Sunday Will Never Be the Same and Lazy Day and all those
songs. The one song
is
that she did that I think's brilliant is Give a Damn. And Give a Damn was actually the New York authority. They used it. They used it on the trains. They used it on the trains to give a damn for the people, and she got really. In fact, I told Flash Phelps from the '60s Gold guy in the morning from 6 till noon, and I've been talking with him on Sirius. And and he keeps giving us a heads up and this, that, and the other. And then he's going to probably interview Spanky because he wants to talk with her because he plays a couple of her songs and a lot of Turtle stuff. I mean, he's into
great.
it. He says I'm 59, but that's all I do is the '60s. I love the '60s. I love the music, and he plays all the stuff that is real good for people, and then it talks about it, and that's interesting on Sirius because he's just supposed to play music, and he's the only one that talks about his travels and what have you. But it's nice to hear some of those songs, and people like the DJs actually saying, "Yeah, this is really good. This is fantastic stuff," and the people that made them are really, really good. Are you there?
Yeah.
So
I am.
Are you there, Sean?
I am. I mean, I'm definitely If I was going to say real quick aside, I looked up that Kink show at the Orpheum cell. Funnily enough, it was November 11th, 1972, and I actually turned 6 years old that day.
Oh.
No, actually, it was they were there in November, Sean.
November 11th,
brother. Thank you for that, brother.
November 11th. Look it up. Yep.
Yeah, but the show I went to was March 5th.
Oh, March 5th. Okay, I'm sorry.
No. They were there in November.
Yeah, and then
I mean, they were there in March, and then they must have come back in November.
I got you right because your birthday's in March. That makes perfect sense. That's great. That's great.
But you can look that up. It was March 5th. It was the day after, and
you can go on my website. It's on there.
And I probably was at the November show too. I think that was that at the music hall or was that at the Orpheum?
It was at the music hall. Oh,
the November show was in actually, they're both in the Orpheum. I looked it up right now. They're both at the Orpheum.
Yeah, you're right, Sean.
Okay.
You're right.
Right.
Yep. But they did come back. Maybe the next year they did the Preservation record, and that was at the music hall. I've seen them many, many times. I think the last time. Well, no, not the last. The last time I saw the Kinks was at the Melody Tent.
Oh wow!
It was the last time I saw the band, but I saw Ray solo a couple of times, which was just too heavy, man, just too amazing. I love all that stuff. I mean, when I might have told you before, I grew up in East Boston, but right around the early '60s when everything was exploding, I lived around the corner from London Street and Liverpool Street.
No kidding.
And Liverpool Street still had cobblestones on it. So I would walk on there and I would think to myself, I'm in England.
And
that's cool.
I'd listen to, in '67, I was 10 or something, listening to Waterloo Sunset and going, it made me feel like I was there.
I don't know.
And I always say that music is part of my musical DNA, as much as, Chuck Berry and any of that stuff is. So the British music thing really, really...
it really hit Boston. Fleetwood Mac with Peter Green, it was like our hometown playing for the Tea Party.
When did Fleetwood Mac... Fleetwood Mac was on a weird bill that I saw once with Lou Reed at the Orpheum. Do you remember that one?
No, I'd left Fleetwood Mac in 1971.
I think Bob Welch was with them.
Yeah, no, when Peter left, I left.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So what a strange bill. It was a triple bill. It was like was there a prog group named Triumvirate or Triumph or something?
Triumph was a Canadian band, rock band. Yeah,
that's right.
It was. I think it was them, Fleetwood Mac, and Lou Reed. If you look back in, it was the '74 maybe, something like that.
That's after me. I did Lou Reed for 1973. I made the Berlin album with him in England.
Oh my God!
And
what a great record!
I did all the stuff. The best Lou Reed shows I've still got. I'm waiting to hopefully that CBS will put it out, but it's a tough number these days because they want everything for free. They don't want you to get paid or any of that stuff, and I've kept it particularly because it was so good. It was the last October 6, 1973 at the Rainbow in London, and all the friends were on there that came. David Bowie, even Townsend, and all the people came, and I blew the place apart because I had my system I brought over from America, and we were there for 2 days, and I got the sound down in there. It's like a glorified Orpheum, about 5,000 seats.
The Rainbow.
The Rainbow. And boy, I had that when they played Walk on the Wild Side, the bass, I had the whole place shaking. And people are looking at me like this. I says, wait till you hear them sing. And then the guys sounded like little girls. And it was phenomenal. I mean, people were just like, whoa. But I did a good stuff with Lou. When Lou was in his prime to me, I mean, the stuff like the Berlin album, we got all the musicians he wanted because he wanted Ainsley, he wanted Jack Bruce playing bass and stuff like that. And Bob Ezrin was producing, and I was just there to look after Lou, but also to look after Ezrin to see and that's the first time Ezrin ever used SM57s on every tom. And that was the first rock and roll drums. And then the next time he used it is all on Alice Cooper stuff because that band I had became Alice Cooper's band. And
That's right.
Dick Wagner and whatever.
Yeah.
Just really good stuff that we'd put together in Lenox in '73. And I've got the first recording of that show, of that performance, which is real long because he played a lot of stuff from the underground. And then the last recording, which is in London, when it really got the set down into an hour and 10 minutes instead of 2 hours or whatever he was doing with when we did Lennox. It was just so good. But it's another part of history, and we're both talking about history. And unfortunately, our time is running out, so we're gonna have to do this some other time when you got all the band stuff around you, what have you, because it's you that we're focusing on. And Sean said, "You've got to get Sal." I says, "Sal doesn't want to go with this, that, one, and the other." I says, "That's fine." And I will try to get hold of Dr. Jonas and see if you, because he asks about it every time I call him. You talk to Sal.
Yes, you. Please send him my regards. When you talk with him, give him my best regards, please. And the same to Tony Raine.
Yeah.
And maybe the next time we get a chance to chat, we could talk about some of the road crew guys that
exactly. That's what I was wanting to do, but it's got to be you first because
because they were really
they did a good job.
They were helpful, and they all did, and I would like to bring them up at some point.
I totally agree, Sean.
We'll
do
so
this
much,
again,
man.
Definitely, Sean. You are going to be the first of the new season starting in January, and we've done 40 of these already, and James Montgomery was the last one last week, and now you'll be the first one of the new series, but you'll be on there again. Sean will want you to talk about that stuff and about the road crew because I was hoping that, but first of all we had to go through all the good stuff that you've been doing, and that's important.
Yeah,
that's very important because you're the key. You're the key to the whole thing, and you wouldn't have had the road crew unless it was you. so that's it.
And let me know, Sean or Dink, whatever. Send me the link when it's out, and I'll make sure that it gets on all the social media stuff. And
we will do.
And that people know about it.
Thank you. We'll definitely do that. It'll be probably around the 5th of January, and that's what we're waiting for this first one of the new series. Because there's 3 more that's got to get posted before the end of the year, and that'll make it 40 then. And there's John Butcher and there's James, and there's we just done the Joanne Cody and the Dan Larson. We did from the Cape.
Great.
It was
great.
So yeah, it'll be here in the new year. So I wish you a happy holiday now, Sal. It's always a great time catching up with you, buddy. Hope to see you soon in person.
Right back at you, my friend. Great to talk to you, Sean. And Dinky, you keep staying well, my brother. Okay?
We do our best, and happy holidays to you, and holy days, and everything else that's going along with this season. And
yes, indeed. Right back at you.
And have a fun time. And even Nancy's saying happy holidays and stuff out here. And she's been listening to all the talk, and she's been laughing all the time.
Hey, Nancy.
Hello.
How is everyone?
Happy Merry, everybody. I wish everyone peace and the best of health and lots of rock and roll.
Thank you. And with that, this is 2 Pints in a Corner, closing out. And thank you, Sal Baglio and Sean McNally.